Hello everyone and welcome to the GODAN Capacity Development webinars. On behalf of the Global Open Data for Agriculture and Nutrition, I would like to welcome all of you for this webinar that we are hosting today. My name is Suchit Anand and I work for GODAN, and today we are very happy to have colleagues from the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, RCMRD in Kenya, who are with us to talk about their experiences on sharing open data and knowledge with the community, and Dr. Kenneth Mubea, who is the Capacity Development Lead at RCMRD, is going to talk to us on the experiences of RCMRD and the various open data initiatives that they are involved in agriculture. So we are very happy to have Kenneth with us today. At a brief introduction of RCMRD, they have been doing a lot of amazing work. In fact, I was there at RCMRD for this GODAN think tank 1 year back, and I saw for myself the amazing work that RCMRD is doing in the whole GIS aspect. So it's a great pleasure to have them here to share their ideas and experiences. And they have been working especially on the sustainable development using Earth observation and how it can use to enable the SDG goals. RCMRD is an inter-governmental organization. It was established in 1975. It is based in Nairobi, Kenya, and has it's not just based in Kenya, but it has links to over 20 member states in Eastern and Southern Africa region. So they are a very good example from Africa on what is happening on the activities they are doing. And they have done a lot of work, not only in capacity development, but on training aspects, on research aspects. So I really am looking forward to Kenneth's presentation, where he'll be showing some examples with all of us. And for those of you who are new to GODAN, I want to quickly invite you to the Global Open Data for Agriculture and Nutrition. We are a global organization, and our mission is to proactively support the sharing of open data to make information about agriculture and nutrition available, accessible, and usable to deal with the urgent challenge of ensuring world food security. And we have now over 600 partners worldwide who are all working on this joint mission. So we are really happy that you are coming to our webinar, and we really hope you will join GODAN and be part of this amazing global community. And specifically, I want to invite you to this GODAN Capacity Development Working Group, which is focused on capacity development initiatives and highlighting, build a community of practice of the capacity development activities happening across the world. So please join this mailing list. It is free and open to everyone. On screen now, you will see the URL of where you can go and put your details and join in this mailing list, and you can be part of this community. So this presentation, all the webinars that we are hosting are all recorded, and we will be making available these later through this mailing list and through the wider community as well. So there will be YouTube link as well for those who couldn't make it to this webinar. So we welcome all of you for joining this webinar, and if you have any questions on this webinar, please use the chat window which you see on the screen, and put your questions into the chat window, and Kenneth will answer at the end of the webinar. So now I would like to hand over to Kenneth, who is the Capacity Development Lead at RCMRD, and he will be presenting the developments in RCMRD. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shati, for the warm introduction, and I wish to present you about the capacity development experience from Regional Center for Mapping in a few minutes, and we'll have time for questions. So the outline of my presentation is, as you can see, an overview of RCMRD, potential collaborations, the lessons we've learned, and the way forward from such interaction. So as such is earlier announced, RCMRD uses Earth observation in promoting sustainable developments, and we serve 20 member countries in the East and Southern Africa, from Ethiopia to Southern Africa. At RCMRD, we've run several projects, and one of the interesting big projects we've run is SAVIR, which is a global project. As you can see in the map, we have offices in East and Southern Africa at RCMRD. We have our colleagues in West Africa hosted at Agrimet. We have colleagues in EC mode. This is in Nepal. have other colleagues in ADPC, in Thailand, Mekong, and other upcoming hubs, as you can see. And we're given support by NASA in terms of science and USAID in terms of development opportunities. The services we offer at RCMRD are categorized as you can see: support to agriculture and food security, weather and climate, water resources and related disasters, and finally land cover. All of these are somewhat interlinked, but the focus on agriculture is actually cross-cutting, as you can see. The special aspect of our survey project is that we've been able to collaborate with professors from the US, and we are working with 4 principal investigators on a 3-year project in supporting food security in East and Southern Africa. As you can see, we are working with the University of Maryland, the US Forest Service, University of Oklahoma, and University of California. And all these are geared towards addressing food security as well as addressing the social development goals in Africa. The work we've been doing at RCMRD has only been possible through partnerships, and we've been able to partner with the Kenya Metrology Department, the National Disaster Management Authority, the Kenya Water Towers, among other partners, including GODAN and TAMO, and other also in the private sector. I'll be able to give you examples of the collaborations in a few coming slides. The collaboration with the University of Maryland is through the applied science team, where we're working on a crop monitor tool to be able to provide timely information using the geoclam, and this is able to support the State Department of Agriculture in Kenya and Tanzania and Uganda. And our main stakeholders are ourselves and various institutions. And the products, we normally have a bulletin coming up every weekly, and this will help in decision making in terms of food security. We also have support to the State Department of Agriculture in the case of Kenya context, where I've been able to provide with them a crop mask tool, and they've been able to use it to advise even farmers in terms of crop production in the last 10 years. The product was created using Landsat data, 30-meter resolution. This is open data, and we have plans of improving this product using Sentinel data, Sentinel 2, which is a 10-meter resolution. And the stakeholders we support, the ministry, as well as other stakeholders, including FuseNet, and even this support of another tool which we are planning to launch later on. We're also collaborating with the tea sector to improve it because we normally have frost occurring around the months of December, January, because of the radical temperature drops. So being able to support this using the frost map application, and this we have stakeholders from the county governments, the tea research factories, and also small scale and large scale. And this is will build into an insurance product, which is very useful to guide our farmers against such losses. Our collaboration with GODAN, as Suchi mentioned earlier on, started sometime last year, where we had a workshop which was able to help us have a baseline of the agricultural sector. It was a think tank meetings. We had experts from different sections, and we were able to come up with a baseline of where the needs are and how we can improve in terms of capacity building using the network GODAN offers. The collaboration with GODAN has continued, also linking us with the universities, like one of the universities in Kenya, University of Nairobi, at the Department of Agriculture, Pakabete. And we're working with specific lecturers to improve their student-led agricultural transformation program. And we've been able to have a series of training of trainers in open data. We had it sometime in October, and we had different partners, even from TriImpact, GODAN, CTA, Chipos around, and many others. From such a workshop, we were able to promote agriculture, bring the key stakeholders, including government, so as to have a buy-in in terms of capacity building and open data uptake. We have also an interesting program. We've been able to come through partnerships with TAMO. This is a Trans-Africa Hydromet Observatory. They're based in the Delft University, a corporation of various universities. And we've been able to do this collaboration, able to install weather stations in the schools in support of the schools to schools programs. in order to promote resilience and also promote the science, technology, engineering, and math, which is a very good partnership. And we've seen several schools benefit from this program. And also, such as an example of where we installed also at regional center and partner institutions such as the universities, even some universities in Kenya, universities in Tanzania, including Earth University. All this is aimed at improving the weather information value chain, creating a bridge to resilience, and also promoting sustainable agriculture, or what we can say climate smart agriculture. Through this cooperation with TAMO, we've been able to launch the RCMRD Space Challenge, which we started sometime this year in April. We engaged some schools based on agricultural ecological zones in Kenya, and we had 7 schools, and we started one workshop first of all for the teachers to equip them with the necessary knowledge and how to use the weather stations and how to disseminate the information to the students. And then we had the challenge sometime in July, and we had several partnerships to make this happen, including TAMO, 4H Kenya, which promotes sustainable agriculture among the youth. We had the GLOBE program, which is a NASA program, other partners in the private sector like ESRI, among others. And we had the runner-up school, the first school, which was NASA called Girls School in Western Kenya, very remote part of the country, and we appreciate the value of such information in building the skills of the students. The second runner-up school was a primary school. This gave us the objective that the ages, when we tap on the early ages, we're able to promote weather information in the schools, improve the curriculum. So this is part of other programs run like ESRI, the K-12 program, and there are many opportunities, even including from the viewers, that we can engage together and collaborate. And I believe there will be a short video which you can access the link later on at free time. We also have collaboration with the New State Mexico University in the US, collaboration on a land potential system. This is a tool which is able to promote sustainable land practice. We have been able to empower individuals, including academicians, researchers, and also private sector. And we also have a one-day curriculum for this. And this has been piloted in some parts of northern Kenya, as well as some parts of Namibia. And we also have plans of rolling out in different institutions coming next year. And we hope to engage you, some of the viewers, in such curriculum. This is just a one-day course, and we can also partner also in the universities and help you improve your curriculum using such material. We also have collaboration in the private sector. We've been able to engage Acorion, agro value chain services in Kampala, and they serve the whole of Uganda. They've been able to profile the farmers in terms of digital information, providing extension services, digital services, and soil testing. And the cooperation with RCMRD has that of helping them improve the value chain of the weather information. We've been able to link them with TAMO, and we've been able also to help them in terms of capacity building to transform the agriculture in Uganda. And even we have the CEO, who's a very young person and very youth person to work with and transforming agriculture in their country. We also have close collaboration in terms of having an agricultural task group in Kenya, where we're bringing all the stakeholders, including the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization, who are the coordinators of this activity, coming from the government, which is a very good buy-in. And there's collaboration from universities and KABI and also Kenya Forest Service. And we plan also to do much more advocacy in terms of having all the agricultural research data available, accessible, findable, and how it can address SDGs and also contribute to the African Union Agenda 2063 in terms of the Africa we want. So this platform will really help us, and there are many opportunities, as you can see, of open data. And I believe with you, we'll have a webinar sometime on 5th December, which will also be disseminated across the same network. RCMRD has an open data portal. We welcome all viewers to access this site, and you can download, and also you can also find the metadata information, which is very key as we're embracing open data together with GODAN. In terms of lessons learned from open data and capacity building, we've realized the need of stakeholder mapping in terms of identifying the beneficiary, intermediaries, the users, the exact users, and the exact problems that the users have. And also we've learned about collaboration and learning, very key. And also third one is co-development in terms of capacity building, products and tools, even training. We've also realized the need to empower journalists, that is data journalism, and we have a communication expert who's helping us in terms of documenting success stories and open data, and we also have close collaboration also with CTA on this activity. We've also embraced, fourthly, monitoring, the value of monitoring and evaluation in our work, having indicators, making follow-ups, also in our trainings, seeing how the capacity of the people who've been trained has improved, and also the institutions. And finally, but not least, we are working on documenting success stories so as to document the impacts of our training and open data opportunities. Last but not least, in terms of the way forward, is that there's close need for partnerships in terms of data sharing agreements. There's also need to engage the public, private partnerships, capacity building, doing actually more outreach like this webinar, making a link to the social development goals in all our work, coming up with the innovative activities such as our RCMRD Space Challenge and hackathons, and also the value of ICT in agriculture, on which we are working on closely with CTA. And finally, we have to appreciate the role of big data in terms of data cubes, and here we have opportunities for working on Google Earth Engine and other innovations. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Very interesting presentation. You covered a lot of different interesting ideas. So we will open it to questions. So I request participants, please send in your questions through the chat window, and we can answer one by one. So please start sending through the chat window. One question for you, Kenneth, in the beginning, because from your presentation, you were telling that your the Landsat data you're already using, but Sentinel data you have used or are you planning to use?
We plan to improve the product using Sentinel data.
Okay.
So this is part, yes. We want to take advantage of the new technologies like Sentinel-2, so we plan to use it to improve the crop mask tool.
Right. Okay, so that's an ongoing activity, if I understand correctly, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Good. And another question I have is, the geoportals you have been talking about. Do you do training programs? Because I understand RCMRD, you are linked with training for all these 20 different countries. So, for example, if another country in that region, they want to set up their own geoportal, do, for example, the geonode or something, will you be able to do training programs for them, or you will just serve the data through your portal? What is the plan?
We normally do the member countries normally make a request, and we do the training on the country level, and based on the specific needs, mostly in support of the government.
Right. So the governments will have to first contact RCMRD with the requirement, and
yes.
So you can either host it for them or you train them. Am I right in understanding?
Yes.
All right. Okay. And how many staff do you train per year?
The numbers goes up to 1,500 per year, based on our actual training and project training. So in total.
Oh, very good. Yeah. And I have one question that just came in, and the question is about what do you see as being the key or pressing capacity gaps in the use of open data across the different target audiences?
One of them is they need capacity to be built capacity in terms of how to use the open data. For example, Sentinel-2 poses some challenges in East Africa because of the cloud cover, and here the opportunities of using SAR data, which will offer the capacity building on this activity, as well as the plan of data journalism to promote more people to use an uptake.
Right. Thank you, Kenneth. And another question that has come in is, how do you measure the impact of your data through an agro services tools to the smallholder farm?
We normally have a data analytics through our GIT team, making a follow-up on the usage and uptake.
The question is about for example, for the smallholder farmer, is there any mechanism you can get a measure of impact from them?
There is, in terms of like the frost map, the frost monitoring. It is the farmer who's able to access the mobile app is able to get alerts on the frost and is able to plan ahead.
Oh, I see.
And the forecasts are normally 72 hours with plans to improve the forecast maybe to 48 hours.
Okay. So these are like mobile apps distributed to the farmers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so you get so that's a direct way for you to measure the impact of your work as well, right? Because you have those, those farmers who are using the service, right?
Yes, and also the app has an option of reporting incidences, so it's a win-win case scenario where also the farmer can help you, and also as we use the science, so we compare the in situ and the science, where science meets the village, connecting science to village.
Very, very interesting. So how long has this project been going? Is it like a more than how many years has this been going on?
Initially, it was done in the first phase. We had a first phase 2011 to 2012, but so we realized we had to improve some issues. So we started on it last year, and now we've even engaged the stakeholders to actually know their needs, and we're able to develop an app based on the user needs requirements, and that's how we're able to monitor it. And actually, we have follow-up workshops like this time when we expect to have some frost and see how the impact is to the small-scale farmer.
Oh, that's really impressive. Thank you, Kenneth, for that detailed answer. Another question is coming from Henry Beppo. This specifically following up on the GeoNode training question.
Yes.
I would like to know, in the case of Ghana, do we contact AgriMet, AGRYS? So he's asking, how, if he wants to follow up on the training question. I understand he's based in Ghana, so how does we follow up this?
Formerly, Ghana has been part of West Africa. They can be able to contact Survey West Africa. In addition, they can be able to contact one of our counterparts in West Africa, Afrigist, which was formerly Rectes.
Okay, good. If they have any queries, they can email you, right? And then you'll be more than happy to greet them, right?
Yes, no problem.
Yes. So for the question from Henry, if you have any queries, do email Kenneth or RCMRD, and they'll be able to guide you correctly as well. So another question is coming from Sikruz Saibu, who is asking, how do you deal with farmers that have low educational backgrounds, those who cannot read and write? Asking this in case of a country, which, so basically, how if people can't read and write, how do you ensure your tools are available to them?
That's a very good question. What we've embraced is the partnership with the Kenya Metrological Department, and we've been able to use the local FM stations to disseminate the information, because from the user engagement activities, we realized there are farmers with no basic knowledge even of smartphone, and the only access they have is a radio. So we have the collaboration with the Kenya Metrology Department, and this is made possible on the ground.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting question. And I remember even from my experience in India, that there is a big need for, there's a lot of, especially in rural areas, the farmers, they don't have literacy level. So, how do you enable like voice enabled or icon based? There are a lot of things we can think for the future, but this radio thing is really interesting, because radios are pervasive. There is a lot of, even in rural areas, they have access to radio. So that's a really important aspect. So who did you contact for making that possible? You directly link with the radio stations through this Metro office, right?
We had the direct link with the Kenya Metrology Department, because this is how you can only have the buy-in from the government.
So they will disseminate, all right.
Yes.
But is it like localized as well? So, for example, the information you send through the radio broadcast will be localized to that, for example, to that particular area as well, or is it general for the whole region or something like that?
it to be localized to the specific area because we have local area radios with their
Okay.
local dialects and language.
Wow, oh, that's very. It will really. So, is it part of any of your success stories? These kind of activities, because it will be relevant to, other countries, even in other regions. So, if you have any links of those kind of examples, Kenneth, I would really appreciate if you can share it with the wider community.
Yes, this is part of our work with CTA to document our
Oh,
success stories, and Chipo is listening.
okay, great. Okay, there's another question that is coming through. There has been a lot of discussion on the issue of making business models for open data. How are you ensuring the
Mhm.
sustainability of your agro services? What happens when the funding runs out?
The business model at this moment is more of making sure we have more uptake and also developing business opportunities for startups. And if you have such a support for startups, you're in a business already because they'll be the ones to take over the open data or activities. The other part is the buy-in from government, ministries, mainstreaming the open data, or even maintaining also some of the products that we have. For example, we are planning to deploy some of the our flood forecasting model tool to the Kenya Metrology Department. That way, if they take the updates, we'll have the sustainability buy-in from government.
Oh, great. Thank you, Kenneth. There's another question from Stella Orofia Ampo. She's asking, thanks for the presentation. Are your methodologies also open access? For example, for crop condition mapping and monitoring?
Is all the models are open access in terms of the publications and also the metadata and also the support that you can get from RCMRD.
All right, okay. So, they can contact you for any queries and you can direct them to the right resource as well, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Another question from Carolyn Robinson on how do you see the data making more impact in other areas beyond agriculture? Well, that's an interesting question.
Pardon?
How do you see the data making more impact in other areas beyond agriculture? Do you see any other impact? Obviously, most of these examples were agriculture focused, but is there any other kind of impacts you can see from this for beyond agriculture? For example, the examples you showed from the
Yes.
education. I could easily see the education impacts. So for the schools and all those kind of activities you are already doing. So is there any other kind of links you can see, which even though the primary focus is agriculture, there are some
Yes.
other wider impacts in other regions or other SDGs, for example.
Yes, very true. I agree with the question. There are many other impacts in terms of when we promote sustainable agriculture with what we are doing and saving the losses. There's also the aspect of early warning in terms of the crop monitor tool. That is weather and related disasters and water disasters. In terms of flood forecasting, there's also a connection to land cover in terms of sustainable land practices. There's also a connection of this data advising policy, and the other one is promoting education in schools in terms of curricula and science, technology, and engineering, and math, SDGs. And I see there are many ways we are trying to connect as we talk in terms of publishing the stories from the different thematic areas. And agriculture is a central focal point of sustainable food production and sustainable development.
That's very interesting. In fact, when you showed that examples on education, that this year GODAN ran this GODAN NASA challenge, and I was
Yes,
this year we didn't have any students from Africa, but I really hope next year that there will be
yes,
students from Africa for this challenge, and it needs mentors to guide them. So there's mentors from RCMRD like yourself,
yes,
who can mentor students in schools and universities in Kenya and the wider region. I think that because there is a lot of students are really talented. So once they get a platform where they can show their work to the wider world, it will be a really great opportunity. And because you are doing all these education aspects, I can easily see some links on this for future to enable these students to go forward for these NASA challenges. For that was actually a agriculture focused challenge, and In fact, the students who won it were high school students from USA. But it was amazing, agrosphere application that was developed. So I'm really hoping next year there will be like some strong student teams coming from Africa and Kenya for that. And I'm looking forward for your expertise for that. There is another question from Dominic who want to speak directly. So can CTA, I'm requesting CTA colleagues to enable the microphone for Dominic so he can ask the question.
Hello.
Yes, go on, Dominic.
Yes, hello.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ken, for the presentation. It was a good presentation. We already know each other. I'm Dominic from Rwanda. And then, how do you see the way data, open data, may be useful for research and education at universities? That's my simple question.
Thank you, Dominic. I wish to respond as part of the engagement with the universities that I've also engaged university in Rwanda. We plan also to support the curriculum and also some of the open data materials we plan to deploy to the universities in terms of doing a franchise, improving short courses, training curriculum. This is something which is there at heart to improve our learning curricula using the recent technologies and Earth observation.
Yeah, thank you, Kenneth. I think, so the answer is, universities who have interest in getting open data for their curriculum can contact RCMRD and you'll be releasing the curriculum materials, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And is it available through a website or is it something which will be later done?
It's done through, because most of these activities you have to do some memorandum of understanding or data sharing agreements.
Okay.
So I've been able to visit some of the universities, including where Dominic works in the Kigali Independent College.
Oh, I see.
And the University of Rwanda. So we even planned some series of trainings next year.
Oh, very good. Okay. There's another question from Carolyn. Carolyn, you can speak yourself. We can enable your microphone. CTA request that. And she wants to ask about training and education aspects for cross-government planning construction. So, Carolyn, can you speak directly, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I was thinking that with a base data set and using the meteorological and environmental data from this would be perfect kind of data that could be used across governmental level, including in planning and construction. So this is why I was wondering whether the data had been pushed out further than agriculture in the various countries that you're working with. Has it gone further through the different governmental levels in terms of planning, construction, development, housing, things like that?
Thanks, Carol, for your question. We have plans of disseminating more information and also building the capacity, more specifically in terms of the weather and climate, like we've been supporting the government of Malawi in terms of vulnerability assessments. And we even had hazard maps for them as of 2015, and we've been working closely with them, and we are supporting more governments based on their needs and also based on the collaboration with the meteorological departments, because we rely on the goodwill of the meteorological departments in every country, as they are the autonomy in that domain.
That's a perfect answer.
Thank you, Caroline. And if any of the participants wants to ask questions, please just raise your hand and we will make sure the microphone is enabled for you. So just let us know if you want, or just send a chat message that you want to speak, and you can enable it. It's much better than okay. So please go ahead, let us know if you want to talk. And Kenneth, I have one question. So these training programs right now, these are all for government level staff, or so how is it for any like universities in those participant regions, or specifically only government organizations?
Mostly we offer the professional courses for everyone, and then we have specific requests from different governments, which we have to customize the training. Then we have project-specific trainings like what we offer at Surveyor in terms of service-based level trainings.
Right. Okay, understand. And then these project-based, some of the projects are the ones you are doing the research as well, right? So you have some research activities happening through the project as well.
Yeah, including also knowledge transfer workshops where we have the scientists like from some universities in America coming to do the knowledge transfer, where we have to engage our stakeholders as part of the training, as also evaluation of the activities.
Okay, good. Right. And for like this kind of like, do you have any like teacher training programs right now? Like what I mean is like training teachers. Do you have like specific any programs you have done which are specifically for school teacher training?
We plan to offer this in collaboration with our partner TAMO. We realize there's a gap also in improving the geography courses in high school. These are plans in the coming year, and also work with the schools that we've already worked with, and also partner with more schools through the various networks that we're able to build.
Okay, good. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, there is a comment from Simon Mubea who is telling, please note we have apps from Calro as well. So maybe do you know that about the apps from Calro, so you can let others know as well.
The question was, we are working with Calro in terms of creating an open data sharing platform as well, where we'll share our agricultural research information. And I think I know Simon as the IT guru.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Calro is the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization. Okay, so you already, I remember seeing the name of the Calro. Okay, great. So that's good to see that links as well. So Simon wants to speak. So can we enable Simon's microphone? Simon, go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please go ahead, Simon.
Yes.
Hi, Kenneth. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Yeah. I just thought that you mentioned mobile apps, and I know that's my area, so I had to comment something because I know we intend to do something with you on the mobile apps.
Yes, including improving our own mobile applications.
True, because as you know, we have a lot of data, and we are currently working towards doing open data for that scientific information. So I thought it would be good just to mention to the attendees.
That's a good one. Thanks.
Simon, I think that is very useful information.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
I was very impressed. Before, Kenneth, you mentioned how you were using that mobile apps to get feedbacks from the farmers directly. So it becomes like an interactive kind of method for your crop, the frost monitoring application. So, I'd be really interested to learn more about it. So, if there are any published papers or any details on it, do share with the wider community, because it will be of wider interest to the whole GODAN network as well.
Yes, I agree with you very much. And actually, there's a student who did her thesis in the US sometimes. It's called Susan. She finished in 2013. And this phase of the Frost app is an improved version where we have the mobile app, because the previous one we didn't have mobile uptake because it was 5 years ago. Then we also have another mobile app which is helping map invasive species in the northern part of Kenya. And we mentioned this application to Kabi, and they were interested to help us improve the app using their plant species already methodology and research. So there are many opportunities of improving the products we have as part of being in this discussion and webinar.
Oh, good. That's very interesting. So any others who want to ask questions, please do let us know. All these slides and the webinar recording, we will make sure it is made available through the Capacity Development Working Group mail list later. So you can share it with your colleagues who are not able to attend today's webinar as well. And if any other questions you have later, feel free to ask them through the mailing list. We have Joshua Nagania who wants to ask a question. Joshua, go ahead, please.
Yes. Yes, good evening, Ken.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me is more of a comment, just to appreciate the team in terms of the efforts you are making towards ensuring that we have open data which most of the people can access. I think, and starting with agriculture, which is one of the significant sector, especially of our region, which is for Kenya and the greater horn of Africa, because of the food security, the droughts. So basically, mine is to commend you for the good job you are doing in terms of ensuring that you are bringing everybody on board. And for me, I come from a university. It's called Southeastern Kenya University, which is I think around 5 years old. And of course, we can ride on the successes and the capacity and the institutions that are already well developed, so that we don't reinvent the wheel. We just pick up from where others have done and ensure that we do complementary research. And by availing the data, it means we can actually do more useful research, which can add value to the region and to the community, the scientific community at large. So for me, I think is to give you thumbs up for the good work you are doing in terms of also ensuring that other universities or institutions that previously felt left out in the research community are included in the activity. So mine is to just to comment for the good work you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joshua. There's another question from Helen Kamiri, who's asking, recently the government of Kenya has initiated mechanisms of putting together the infrastructure for open data sharing. Are you supporting the government to implement this agenda? And how do university researchers come on board?
So to comment this, this is a question we had as a follow-up of a training we had at the University of Nairobi, where initially we were told the activity was being, the open data initiative was being first hosted by the ICT ministry, and through our other partner who's owns another NGO, we are making the follow-up and seeing how we can engage through the Ministry of Agriculture, because we saw some disconnect in terms of what is ICT and what is important for in terms of agriculture. So through GODAN and the other partners, we are trying to build the capacity of the Ministry of Agriculture to actually host its own agricultural data, open data, instead of deploying it to the ICT.
Thank you, Kenneth. Next, Kiringai Kamau wants to speak. Kiringai, please go ahead.
Just wanted to highlight that, yes, we are working with the RCMRD on the agriculture front, and we have an intergovernmental framework that is working with GODAN to bring in a number of partner governments that are trying to use open data. And one of the things that we actually want to highlight is the role of national statistic organizations, because I think that something went wrong in the way the introduction of open data came in, that the national statistical offices were not quite involved, and that is the reason why the pickup of open data has actually been a bit slow. So we are organizing that, and we are involving RCMRD in the discussions, and we most likely will be having a meeting in 1 week from now, so that we can explore how do we ensure that we engage all the actors, particularly the ones that are empowered through legal processes to handle hosting of data, whether open or otherwise. And I also wanted to for Ken to highlight for the purpose of those ones who are willing to join our initiative on GODAN Action Initiative to train universities and research organizations in open data, that the program is still ongoing, and we are going to be highlighting that in the meeting that we will be discussing, so that we can have larger numbers, and we actually carry on another training similar to the one that Ken made reference to. Thank you. I'm from the University of Nairobi, for those ones who, Center of Agricultural Networking and Information Sharing, for those who may not know me.
Thank you, Kirangai. Very good points you made. Thank you very much for your contribution. There's another kind of comment that came through. It's from the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, CALRO. They have their apps made available in Google Store, and they have sent a link as well. So what we will do is maybe we can share the whole link with colleagues through the mailing list as well. So people who want to, because I think that will be a really interesting kind of resource available. So thank you very much, CALRO, for providing that resource. So we will make it available to the wider community as well. There is another question, two questions coming through. The first one is from Caroline, who is asking, with the data being open data, are you using open software such as QGIS and RStudio?
We are planning to promote the use of open data and open software because we have customers and governments who are not able to afford the commercial software. So there's a balance between those who can afford, and especially for universities who are starting up, we all conduct the training in open source software. But there's a gap where in instances you might find commercial software will do more than the open. So it depends mostly at the budget level and the uptake of the technology. However, we have very good developments with the open source, like the Snap tool for SentinelNet processing, etc., etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. And for Caroline, there are a lot of resources available online. So if you want to know those resources, I'm more than happy to provide you those links, which you can use for for your open data training using these open tools. So there are publicly available resources, so we can send it to you. And there is Sifa, my who is asking, the open data portal at the ICT Ministry and a separate portal at the State Department for Agriculture. While it is great to have several portals, what efforts are being made in networking data sets across portals?
The question now goes like the previous question about the hosting of the portal by the ICT government, and as Kiringai alluded to, we plan now to make it through the Ministry of Agriculture with support of CALRO. So there's open data strictly focused in agriculture. As you know, there's possibilities of competition among various ministries in terms of ownership of data.
Yes, and thank you again for this question and for all these links. And it's good to make these links as well. So thanks to Kirangai and Sifa and everyone who are providing these inputs. So hopefully, it will link more ideas for everyone on what is happening and what are the key organizations that need to be involved and things like that. So thanks to all the participants. So if there are any other questions, even if you want to make it later, do email Kenneth directly. Kenneth's email is in the screen below, and also you can send an email if any specific queries on the wider aspects of capacity development, and some links you can always send it to the capacity development working group mailing list. As Kenneth told, there is another webinar that CODATA is organizing on the 5th of December. So Kenneth, I understand that the details of the webinar will be sent through the list, right? So those interested can join that webinar on the 5th of December, which will be again very interesting. And I'm really happy to see this lot of so there is a lot of amazing work going on in Kenya and Africa, and it's really good to share that with the wider GODAN community. And I really appreciate RCMRD and Kenneth for providing that opportunity to share these ideas. So I really hope you will engage with the GODAN Capacity Development Working Group. And if there are questions asked in the working group, please reply to it on some of the interesting activities you are doing as well.
Of course.
We are nearing our time. So if there are any other further questions, we will make sure that they are discussed in the mailing list. But I want to, on behalf of the GODAN, I would like to thank Kenneth and RCMRD for sharing these ideas from their work and the excellent presentation that Kenneth has done for us today. I want to also specifically thank colleagues at CTA, in particular Chipo and Chris, who have been helping us in all the background facilities for this webinar. We will be sending the slides and video recording to all later when it's available. And we welcome further discussions on this webinar and other capacity development ideas in the community mailing list. So please be engaged and share any of the developments you are finding in your regions and countries. Please do share with the wider community. So I want to thank you all for joining our webinar today and being part of the GODAN community. And we are looking forward to see you soon in our next webinars soon. So we will be informing that in the mailing list later. So thanks again, everyone, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.